Welcome back to The Explainer. So if you're the kind of focused learner who really wants to cut through the noise and get straight to the structural core of how organizations actually change, well, you're in the exact right place. We're going on a bit of a maturity journey today. We're looking at a comprehensive guide from the Structured Finance Association, produced in partnership with Nika White Consulting. We're going to explore exactly how organizations can successfully move from just tallying up raw HR headcount numbers to driving deep, systemic cultural change through robust data analytics. But hey, before we get completely lost in the technical weeds here, I want you to consider this exact question. Are we prepared for future success with diverse talent? It's a heavy one, right? And the harsh reality is that if an organization cannot properly measure its diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, the answer is just no. They aren't prepared. Because if we can't measure it, we absolutely can't manage it, and we certainly can't improve it. Okay, let's dive right in. To break down this whole complex landscape, our explainer today is going to follow a quick 5-phase roadmap. 1. Moving beyond basic DEI metrics. 2. Understanding the DEIB framework. 3. The power of people analytics. 4. Visualizing for actionable insights. And 5. Cultivating leadership accountability. All right, let's get to it. So, Phase 1. Beyond basic DEI metrics. We're talking about moving from raw counts to actual systemic change. You see, DEI issues are just so profoundly entrenched within organizational systems. You literally can't solve these massive company-wide challenges with just a single isolated program, or by pulling basic headcount data from your standard HR software. Now, don't get me wrong, looking at foundational demographics like age, gender, or ethnicity is a great starting point. But here's the ultimate so what behind taking it further. A truly holistic approach requires detailed data to create transparency, ensure accountability, and ultimately drive real business results. Like, if you just collapse all people of color into one giant aggregate group, you completely strip away the exact granular detail needed to promote real change. Moving on to Phase 2, understanding the DEIB framework, which is all about defining exactly what it is we're measuring. Before we even think about building sophisticated data systems, we have to get our heads around what we're actually tracking. You probably hear the acronym DII all the time, right? Well, Red Thread Research brings in an absolutely crucial fourth letter, B for belonging. This perfectly breaks it down. Diversity is about inherent characteristics. That's your objective data. But as we slide over to equity, inclusion, and belonging, we're suddenly looking at a mix of objective actions and subjective employee perception. Equity is looking at access and remuneration, inclusion measures integration and acceptance, and belonging, that measures if an employee actually feels valued and supported. You really have to measure the whole shebang, all 4 elements, to get the true picture.
Now, as we prepare to track these 4 pillars, we absolutely need to clear up some terminology that gets mixed up all the time. Scorecards versus dashboards. A scorecard displays key performance indicators alongside your performance targets over a period of time. Basically, it tracks your progress. A dashboard, on the other hand, is a comprehensive snapshot of a single moment in time across all those KPIs. Visualizing this stuff correctly means knowing exactly when to use which tool for its specific strengths.
All right, Phase 3, the power of people analytics. This is where we transform the systems.
To properly track that entire DEIB framework across an employee's whole journey with the company, we have to seriously upgrade our tech. I'm talking moving way beyond isolated spreadsheets and basic exports. The old way, transactional reporting, is honestly pretty simplistic. It focuses on singular events. Say you hire a bunch of summer interns. The HR system basically just tacks some rows onto a database and calls it a day. It's totally isolated. But people analytics? That requires multifaceted data exploration coming from one consolidated, integrated repository. It takes those single-dimensional transactions and transforms them into comprehensive, totally people-centric records. It's a real game changer.
Okay, let's bring that technical jargon down to earth for a second. Building a system that actually works involves a straightforward 4-step process. First up, data integration. This is extracting data from everywhere: your payroll, surveys, applicant tracking systems. Second is data modeling, which is mapping all those crazy different formats into one standard schema. Third is data warehouse setup. You have to store all this integrated data centered around the employee, not just the transaction. And finally, number 4, choosing a business intelligence tool so you can actually make visual sense of all those numbers.
Which brings us to Phase 4, visualizing for actionable insights. This is all about connecting that cold, hard data to the actual human experience. Once you've got that unified data warehouse set up, The focus totally shifts from how we store the data to how we actually look at it, because honestly, the right visualization is what connects the raw numbers to real people. Just look at how bringing recruitment, hiring, retention, and turnover data into one single view lets leadership instantly spot glaring gaps. Like, say, in an operations department over a 2-year span, leadership might suddenly notice a really high voluntary turnover rate among female employees compared to the guys. Without this kind of unified visual, a trend like that would probably just stay buried in separate departmental spreadsheets forever.
And the insights get deeper. By tracking performance ratings across demographic lines, like gender and ethnicity, over a couple of years, advanced people analytics allows leaders to start asking the really hard questions, like, are our compensation and promotion processes truly fair and unbiased? If one specific demographic group is consistently getting lower performance ratings, the data is essentially screaming at you that there's a systemic issue that needs to be investigated right now.
But to get that incredible level of insight, your dashboard really needs to be pulling in multiple specific data streams. We're talking surveys for sentiment analysis, payroll for compensation trends, your applicant tracking system for time to hire metrics, your learning management system to see who's actually getting training opportunities, and of course your core HRIS for overall demographics and turnover. When you bring them all together, they paint this amazingly complete, unified picture of the entire employee lifecycle.
And finally, Phase 5, cultivating leadership accountability, moving from just counting heads to building actual culture.
Here's the harsh truth. All of this sophisticated data integration, the beautiful dashboards, the advanced analytics, they are literally useless if they don't result in real cultural transformation. The absolute crucial point here is how an organization uses these new insights to hold managers accountable for tangible improvements. You have to set clear leadership objectives. We're talking promoting diverse leadership, implementing inclusive development programs, and, this is huge, incorporating DEI goals right into leadership performance evaluations. Leaders absolutely must be held accountable for providing mentorship and keeping DEI principles front and center in their everyday strategic decision-making.
But you know, it's not just on the executives. We've got to anchor all this technical talk back to overarching human responsibility. Real accountability means that every single employee is responsible for the organization's DEI performance, right within the context of their own specific role. It cannot just be an HR thing anymore. DEI has to be completely ingrained into standard organizational norms and practices at literally every single level.
Well, that brings us to the end of our explainer today. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this final, genuinely provocative question to chew on. With all the data collected and analyzed, are we cultivating an inclusive culture? And who truly benefits from our efforts? It is a question every single organization has to ask if they want to evaluate their own maturity arc, moving from just counting headcounts to creating a true, undeniable culture of belonging.